I gave my son $13,000 to help his family. What I discovered left me shocked and heartbroken. John's heart pounded as he watched his son Derek sandwiched between dreams and despair. The food truck gleamed under the Texas sun, a beacon of hope he'd funded with his retirement savings. $13,000 meant to ease their struggles. Yet, with every passing day, the vibrant enthusiasm that filled Derek during those initial days felt increasingly overshadowed by the shadows of uncertainty. John had always believed in hard work, integrity, yet here he was, grappling with the implications of his leap of faith. His fingers trembled as he recalled the spirited conversations they'd had over the years about success. Now he couldn't shake off the feeling that he might have pushed his son off the precipice instead of affording him wings. So many nights, surrounded by cereal bowls steeped in financial worry, John had pored over every possibility of failure that could crop up. What if Derek failed and his pride crumbled? What if he pulled his family under, withdrawing their shared sense of stability? Just last week, John stood outside the food truck, watching Derek serve hungry patrons, feeling that rush of parental pride. But when the customers dried up, the anxiety seeped back in, crystallizing around that painful charge. Layered beneath dreams, dollars mattered. Was he losing Derek to a group of reckless chefs who painted ambition but skimmed on caution? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Yet, as John peered deeper into Derek's world, flashes of his own choices haunted him. The late nights spent with friends, ideas swirling like steam from a pot left too long on the stove. Extravagant spending on dreams ungrounded in stability. The camaraderie that initially seemed sweet took sour notes, revealing a reality he had wished away. Why hadn't he shown Derek how to distinguish between friend and opportunist? The weight of responsibility now pressed heavy on John's chest, his son entrusting him for guidance while he felt lost in the throng. Derek's debts mounted, and late-night conversations transformed into arguments laced with frustration. In those moments, John would confront the depths of his love and fear, clashing against a wall of pride in Derek's eyes. They spoke in circles, both trying desperately to change the other's perceptions of success and failure. He wanted to shout that this wasn't just about food or fleeting fame. It was about lessons learned through hardship, the proverbial rabbit hole where Dad was trapped in. Place of encouraging growth. The notion rang hollow in his mind. Was he really helping or laying the groundwork for Derek's defeat? In the quietest moments, when Derek was napping and his young family settled in the shadows, John found himself questioning what he knew, battling against an identifiable force raging within him. His heart raced at the thought of losing Derek, of watching his son drift into an abyss fueled by disappointment. And just when he thought resolutions were within reach, everything unraveled once more. Glimmers of hope stood precariously on the edge, teetering with every reckless choice Derek made. Would his son find the courage to face the truths hiding behind culinary dreams, or pull further away into a cycle of failure they both feared? The clock ticked louder now, each second wrapping tighter around their fates. The next confrontation was looming, and John steeled himself for the tumultuous tempest. Would they find common ground amidst the chaos, or unravel completely? The answer dangled just beyond sight, waiting for the moment to reveal itself. The days following the argument hung heavy with an unspoken tension that consumed John. It crept into every corner of his thoughts, leaving no room for distraction. His mornings became a distorted mirror of what they once were, quiet rituals marred by the weight of concern. At the crack of dawn, he found himself seated at the kitchen table, coffee growing cold as he fixated on the fleeting sounds from outside. The food truck still stood, a eulogy to dreams deferred, and he could hear Derek's laughter, edged with a hint of desperation, as he attempted to lighten the atmosphere amidst dwindling customers. John's resolve had been shaken to its core. The idea that freedom required responsibility felt tangled in an inescapable web. He could almost feel Derek's disappointment, like a phantom that followed him, nudging at his conscience. Yes, he had given Derek the chance to rise, but did that chance demand so much of him as well? Through this storm of emotions, clarity began to emerge. Perhaps his initial faith lacked the scaffolding needed to sustain real growth. He needed to confront not just the situation, but also the man he had become in the face of this crisis. As the afternoon sun cast long shadows across the living room, John found himself staring at the food truck parked in their driveway. It was a vivid reminder of the burden they'd both taken on. Instead of feeling anger, he felt a surge of determination. He needed to tackle these challenges head-on. This time, instead of merely venturing into confrontation, he would enter into a constructive dialogue. Surely there existed a path forward that would honor their hopes while addressing their failures. He decided to meet Derek in the food truck before dinner, a move that surprised both of them. It turned out Derek had just finished prepping their menu for the weekend. The air was thick with the mingling aromas of garlic, onion, and spices that wafted from within. John inhaled deeply, the scent stirring memories of kitchen experiments and family gatherings long past. They used to bond over cooking, sharing secrets masked in laughter and splashes of sauce. Today felt different. The love remained, but doubt laced their banter. "Dad," Derek said, not looking up from his cutting board, "you didn't have to come." His voice held a mixture of defiance and vulnerability, a reflection of their strained connection. "I know," John replied, resolving to stay calm, "but we need to talk about everything: money, the truck, and us." The silence stretched, and John felt the weight of Derek's gaze. "I appreciate what you did, but this is my dream. I need to figure it out on my own," Derek stated, the pride in his words layered with frustration. "Do you think I didn't have dreams once?" John challenged gently, tapping into a reservoir of his own hopes long since buried. "I want you to succeed, but that has to come with accountability." The conversation unfolded like the layers of a well-prepared dish, flavors mingling and contrasting until a new concoction emerged. It became less about money and more about identity, about two individuals standing atop a shared foundation of love, yet struggling to find their own ground. They danced around the reality of their vulnerabilities, navigating through deep-seated fears, until the moment crystallized, the realization that Derek's success was intrinsically connected to John's willingness to share not just his support, but also hard-earned wisdom. As shadows darkened the sky, John sensed a shift within himself. He was ready to take a step back, not out of defeat, but as an act of trust. His son needed the freedom to either soar or crash, and if he chose the latter, perhaps he would find the resilience required to rise again. Just as the conversation gained momentum, the phone buzzed with a sudden urgency. It was Derek's business partner, and the urgency in his tone sent a jolt through both men. "We've got a big opportunity," he said, breathless on the other end, "but we need to act fast." John's heart raced. What was this new development? Would it tether them further to their shared ambitions, or plunge them deeper into the chaos they had been working to navigate? The stakes were high, and John braced himself for the storm ahead. Would this chance become their salvation, or another winding road toward regret? The uncertainty loomed, casting doubt yet again on everything they thought they understood. As the evening sky deepened into a dark navy, John stood in the food truck, the soft glow of the overhead lights illuminating the tension etched in both their faces. Derek's partner remained on the line, urgency thick in his voice, detailing an unexpected opportunity. A local event featuring emerging chefs, eager for unique food offerings, willing to pay handsomely for vendors. His heart raced. With this could either bring them back from the brink or expose the fragile scaffolding of their plans. John's chest tightened. A surge of both hope and dread swept over him. He glanced at Derek, who was still processing the information, his brow furrowed in thought. This was the moment that could define their future, yet it could just as easily unravel the delicate trust they had been rebuilding. "Hear me out," Derek's partner continued. "It's a chance for us to gain visibility. We'll need to refine the menu and prep for a large crowd. This isn't just about the money, it's about building our brand." The silence between father and son felt like an abyss, each contemplating the implications of this moment. "What do you think, Derek?" John asked, forcing himself to stay neutral, resisting the urge to overpower their discussion with his own fears or aspirations. Derek looked up, his expression shifting from apprehension to excitement, and John could almost see the gears turning in his son's mind. "Yeah, I think we can do it, but we need more supplies. We'll need to budget correctly to ensure everything is done right. It means we'll have to adjust our finances, maybe look for some sponsorship." John seized the opportunity to guide him through this intricate situation. "Let's create a detailed plan. We can do this together." As he spoke, confidence surged within him. This wasn't just about the event. It was about teaching Derek to navigate the unpredictable terrain of entrepreneurship. While Derek grabbed a notebook, sketching out outlines of their potential dishes and costs, John felt a shroud of doubt lift. He realized this was their chance to strip away the layers of blame and regret. They were confronting challenges together, and crafting a plan ignited a flicker of collaboration between them. As they outlined each detail, John discovered Derek's talent for organization. The precision with which he counted ingredients and assessed prices surprised him. Until now, he had only seen the carefree, creative spirit. Now he recognized a budding pragmatism that spoke to his own past. "Dad, this could really work," Derek finally said, his enthusiasm growing as he pointed to a dish highlighted in bold ink. "If we serve a version of Grandma's famous tacos, something with a twist, it could catch people's attention." The idea resonated with nostalgia, but it was more than that. It was a bridge to their shared history. John felt overwhelmed by the pride swelling within him. His son was not just carrying forward a family recipe, he was forging an identity that intertwined his creativity with responsibility, a vital element that John himself had only recently learned to navigate. But as they discussed finer details, a thought nagged at John. What if this opportunity led to further dependency? Would this be merely the beginning of a cycle that drew back into the same chaos they had fought to escape? Caught between the urge to protect Derek and the need to let him experience the consequences of his own decisions, John felt a familiar conflict arise. This was just one opportunity. What lay ahead? The risk of failure loomed larger than ever, intensifying. His determination to guide while not stifling. And then came the moment that brought their plans to a halt. That critical junction where Derek would need to choose to fully commit or take a step back. With the stakes undeniably high, shadows crept back into their surroundings, creating an atmosphere charged with impending certainty. "Derek, if we take this leap, we both have to lean into it fully. It's a commitment, not just for the event, but for whatever comes next." John searched his son's eyes for the resolve he hoped to see. As Derek pondered, the weight of the decision filled the food truck's cozy space with palpable tension. Both men understood the magnitude of what lay ahead, not just concerning the event, but in how they would rebuild their fractured bond. What lay ahead was still uncertain, but one thing was clear. This decision could either reinforce their partnership or threaten to unravel it once again. The silence stretched thicker than ever. John braced himself for Derek's answer, recognizing that the future of their relationship hinged precariously on the precipice of this choice. Would it be a profound leap forward, or would they once again spiral into the chaos they were desperately trying to escape? The air crackled with possibilities about to unfold. Derek's eyes flickered with uncertainty as he weighed John's words. It was a moment of reckoning, one where commitment and fear danced dangerously close to each other. In the flickering light of the food truck, the unresolved tension felt like a palpable shroud, nearly suffocating in its thickness. The air was thick with anticipation. Every breath held the weight of potential failure or profound success. "Dad," Derek finally said, breaking the silence, "I want to do this, but we need to structure it right. If we stumble, it won't just hurt us. It'll feel like I let you down again." His gaze dropped to the notebook, the pages a chaotic dance of ambition and anxiety. The realization that Derek was finally wrestling with his fears stirred a different kind of pride in John. "Failure is a lesson, Derek. It's important for us to understand that as we move forward," John replied, choosing his words with care, hoping to unlock a door to resilience instead of reinforcing their past failures. "If you commit, we must approach this together, learning from each setback." As the idea of accountability hung in the air, Derek nodded, a spark igniting once again in his eyes. John couldn't help but admire his son's growing courage, but a renewed sense of dread punctuated his hope. What if they missed something critical? "Let's set deadlines for everything," Derek said, the tremor in his voice fading as excitement took root. "We'll need to secure ingredients within the next week. If we stumble now, we stand to lose everything." This pragmatic realization sparked an idea in John's mind. Derek was no longer simply a creative spirit. He was stepping into a role that required acute awareness of the stakes involved. "Good thinking," John encouraged, eager to nurture this newfound perspective. "Let's be realistic about what we can achieve in that time frame. It's important to pace ourselves while also striving for quality." As they scrawled down the timeline, John felt the familiar shroud of doubt in the back of his mind resurface. Watching Derek thrive under pressure reminded him of his younger self, blazing forward without full comprehension of the potential pitfalls. How much of that recklessness was safe to encourage now? He'd spent years teaching Derek to embrace caution, but at what point could that veer into supporting mediocrity? The discussion shifted increasingly into specifics: costs, suppliers, menus. John couldn't shake his internal debate, though. He was witnessing Derek flourish in this collaborative setting, yet he remained wary. A nagging concern that rushing into promise could revive the old patterns of turmoil they had fought so hard to escape. "Derek," John interjected, grounding the conversation, "when things get tough, and believe me, they will, how will you manage the stress?" The question lingered, an invitation for deeper exploration. Derek hesitated, his enthusiasm faltering for just a moment. "I guess I haven't thought that far. I just feel so energized about this idea." "That's great," John replied, feeling the burden of responsibility sway in his gut. "But we also have to define a plan for when you feel overwhelmed. It's one thing to dive into excitement, it's another to navigate through hard moments without losing sight of the goal." Derek's brow furrowed, clearly grappling with the challenge of marrying passion with pragmatism. "Okay, so we set aside time for strategizing on those tough moments. It's not just about the leap, it's about the landings too." As they fleshed out their plans, a realization dawned on John. This was not simply about the food truck or their commitment to an event. It was a chance for Derek to encounter the full spectrum of entrepreneurship, a life that would demand grit and resolve without stifling his creativity. John felt a shift within himself. This was no longer just about protecting his son, but preparing him for a world that would invariably attempt to grip him with its harsh truths. With the plans taking shape, the atmosphere in the food truck shifted. It felt lighter, charged with a sense of agency rather than uncertainty. Yet, as Derek drew a final line under their blueprint, a new question crept into John's mind, spiraling like a flicker of fire. What happens when that energy fades? They were setting out on a path that could quite easily expose fractures in their partnership, and John sensed that the true test lay far beyond the initial challenges. Suddenly, a sliver of doubt surfaced. What if Derek failed to bring that newfound commitment when tested? Would he regress, drawing them back into chaos, or would he rise to the occasion, strengthening their bond along the way? The stakes were escalating, with the looming specter of both hope and fear tightly entwined. John looked at his son with renewed resolve, drumming up the courage to confront what lay beyond this moment. The food truck had transformed into their forge, but would they emerge strengthened or shattered? As revelations began to bridge the gaps in their relationship, the winds of uncertainty swirled around them, hinting that every decision made would ripple through a much larger reality. One definitive moment could tip them either into grace or turmoil. John held his breath, ready for the path that would unveil itself next. Would they finally conquer the chaos, or would pitfalls loom just out of sight? Derek woke up the next morning with the excitement buzzing in his veins. For the first time, he felt the pull of entrepreneurship resonating within him, not just as a fleeting idea, but as a palpable call to action. The vision of their food truck wasn't just a dream on a notebook page, but a tangible pathway leading to determination and responsibility. Yet, beneath the surface of his eagerness lurked a hint of doubt. Could he transform this energy into something sustainable? The commitment he felt last night flared with enthusiasm, but also unfurled the darker possibilities, whispering a failure that lingered just close enough to savor the taste of defeat. The thought gnawed at him as he prepared for the day. How could he avert this potential pitfall before it ensnared him? He sat down at the small kitchen table, going through the scribbled notes they had created. Every goal, every deadline loomed large, pulsating with life yet fraught with risk. The weight of expectations pressed on him, heavier than the aftermath of any party or social obligation he'd navigated in his past. With each passing minute, he shifted between excitement and anxiety. The duality intensified with the knowledge that it wasn't just his success on the line. He needed to embody the strength and reliability he admired in his father. Derek grabbed his phone and scanned local suppliers, calculating prices and availability. The thrill of strategizing fired him up, and a small grin tugged at the corners of his mouth. However, the rush was abruptly cut short when a notification flashed on his screen. A text from his friend Mark, who had grown distant over the years. "Are we still on for Saturday?" it read. Derek frowned. That was the night he'd promised himself to dedicate time to reviewing their progress with John. Conflicted, he wrestled with the choice. This was a pivotal moment in his life, one calling for commitment over temporary connections. He tapped out a response that was harsher than intended. "I can't. I'm busy." But even as he hit send, the weight of that decision settled heavily in his gut. Was he alienating himself from the very social fabric he had known? As he mulled over his choices, the specter of stress began whispering insidiously. How would he handle loneliness when the initial adrenaline faded? He'd heard horror stories of entrepreneurs who became isolated, losing touch with friends and former selves in the single-minded pursuit of their dreams. Derek took a deep breath, determined to probe deeper into his own feelings. He needed to define a mechanism for managing stress and connections. True empowerment came not through burying himself in work, but in fostering a balance between ambition and social engagement, not repeating the mistake of retreating inward in pursuit of a solitary conquest. When the evening came, Derek joined his father at the food truck, the air heavy with anticipation. John had set up the small space, adorned with utensils gleaming under the fading light. "You ready to go through the details?" he asked, enthusiasm brightening his expression. "Yeah, about that stress management plan," Derek began, recalling the discussions from the night before. "I think I figured some things out." He hesitated. "I don't want to lose touch with my friends, but I also want to make sure we're strong as a team. It's going to require transparency and honesty." John's eyes shone with approval. "I think that's a strong perspective, Derek. The ability to articulate your needs and fears is a strength. Just remember, the most telling moments come when stress peaks. How will you stay engaged with support and clarity?" Derek felt his confidence building, seeing that the balance he sought was beginning to unfold before him. The challenge now was to articulate strategies that not only kept him grounded, but forged a path that allowed his friends and family to be part of his journey rather than spectators. Yet, as they planned, the nagging question circled back. Was the social sacrifice he made one too many? He couldn't afford to alienate key allies in this venture, but how could he effectively communicate that need without compromising his drive? The looming tension spiked, bringing a sense of urgency that settled into the marrow of his bones. Derek sharpened his focus, eager to maintain clarity as they drew closer to finalizing plans. Every discussion was an opportunity to seek wisdom in their balance of progress and personal involvement. But with every mark they made, the question loomed heavily. Would he have the strength to foster relationships while nurturing the fire of his ambitions? As they neared the completion of their preparations, one thing was clear. Derek was starting to shape not only his entrepreneurial venture, but also the kind of leader he wanted to become, someone who balanced ambition with authenticity. But could he hold on to that authenticity when the flash of chaos intruded on their partnership? Only time would reveal how resilient they truly were. As their blueprints started taking form, Derek understood one thing. The art of entrepreneurship was not just about success or failure, but about the journey that intertwined every aspect of who he was. And with that realization, a new challenge surfaced. What lay ahead would demand more than just skills or passion. It would require resilience against a tide of challenges he couldn't yet foresee. Derek awoke the next morning with a clearer sense of purpose. The night's discussions had ignited a resolve within him, a commitment to not only forge ahead with the food truck, but also to nurture the relationships that mattered. He paced his small apartment, each step a reminder that the path to entrepreneurship thrived on both ambition and connection. The seed of doubt that had lingered in the corners of his mind began to wither. As he prepared breakfast, he recalled John's words about stress management, how a balanced approach could harness potential instead of squandering it in isolation. Inspired, Derek scribbled a list of people he could reach out to, friends, family, even Mark. It was time to rebuild connections, to let them know they were part of this ambitious venture rather than mere spectators. With breakfast finished, Derek settled at his cluttered dining table, flipping through his growing stack of notes and ideas for the upcoming launch. Each idea was a step closer to reality, urging him to sound the alarm bells of action. Today, he would begin drafting a call to action for his friends and potential supporters to share in this journey. But just as he began to type, a wave of uncertainty washed over him. How could he involve them without sounding desperate? That question gnawed at him. He needed to strike a tone that conveyed excitement but also grounded reality. As he stared at the screen, muscles tense, he reminded himself that vulnerability wasn't weakness, it was a bridge to connection. Even as he wrote, an internal voice cautioned him against overextending, against asking too much from anyone. After several drafts, his message crystallized. "Hey team, I'm starting a food truck venture and I'd love your support. Would you like to join me for a brainstorming session this weekend?" Simple yet inviting. He felt a rush of exhilaration after hitting send. The rest of the day unfolded in cautious optimism. Between research and preparation for the truck launch, Derek planned ways to source ingredients that were not just affordable, but also sustainable. Each supplier he contacted, every conversation he had, contributed to a commonplace confidence that acted like fuel. As he worked, he realized he thrived in this new environment, a dynamic mix of problem-solving and creativity that kept his heart racing. However, that evening, a reply from Mark popped onto his screen, a simple response that carried weight. "Sounds good, can't wait." Excitement bubbled within Derek, momentarily quelling his worries. Perhaps this was the start of rekindling friendships and forming a solid support system. But as the thrill ebbed, a lingering thought emerged. Did Mark truly want in on this, or did he merely want to catch up? Was Derek inviting friends into his dream, or merely seeking validation for personal endeavors? Determined to quench this doubt, Derek pushed forward. He initiated conversations about responsibilities within the venture and considered potential roles for his friends. The notion of collaboration pulsated through him like an electric charge. He envisioned a diverse team, a harmonious intersection of skills and passions, and knew this was essential for nurturing his own leadership capabilities. But then the question persisted. What if they didn't share his vision? His heart sank at the possibility. The fear of rejection and judgment threatened to resurface and destabilize his progress. As he lay in bed that night, wrestling with those thoughts, Derek realized he was standing on the precipice of a significant transition. He was becoming a leader, a planner. But every step he took toward the food truck demanded an intricate dance between assertiveness and humility. His phone buzzed with another text notification. This time it was from his father, inquiring about the next steps for their launch. Derek drafted a response, but hesitated. His father relied on him for clarity, yet how could he ensure he appeared strong, focused, without showing the cracks in his facade? With a deep inhale, he hit send, deciding that honesty was truer to the mission than a polished presentation. I'm figuring things out, and it feels both exciting and nerve-wracking. His father's immediate reply filled him with warmth. That's part of the process, son. You got this. In those words, Derek found comfort, albeit fragile. Pushing aside the emotional noise, he reaffirmed his desire to lead authentically. But as confidence filled him, the reality of juggling relationships and responsibilities loomed larger. Did forging ahead with his family and friends come with hidden costs? The murkiness of that unseen cost came into sharp focus as the dawn broke, heralding the arrival of the weekend and their first official meeting. Anxiety and anticipation coiled within him like a tightly wound spring, ready to snap. He had taken the leap of faith. Now he had to find out if he could carry his friends along for the ride. What awaited him in that first meeting could very well shift everything he had fought so hard to stabilize. Would it turn into a collaborative endeavor or expose fractures he wasn't prepared to mend? Derek paced around the apartment that morning, nerves prickling at the edges of his anticipation. He glanced at the clock, a countdown to the meeting that felt both monumental and daunting. The air was thick with a blend of excitement and anxiety. He needed to present his vision clearly, to inspire confidence in his friends, and demonstrate that this was more than just a fleeting idea. It was a future he was earnestly building. After double-checking his notes and making a last-minute adjustment to his presentation, he dressed in a way that he hoped would convey seriousness, yet approachability. This venture required authenticity, and he wanted to embody that spirit. He rubbed his hands together nervously while flipping through the slide deck on his phone. Was he really ready to open his dream to scrutiny? Could he withstand the risk of disillusionment if they didn't share his passion? As he drove to their chosen cafe, each red light felt like a punctuated reminder of his own hesitation. But deep inside, the drive surged with a current of determination. His friends deserved to understand what he envisioned, a food truck offering not just meals, but community experiences rooted in quality and sustainability. Arriving early, he chose a table near the window, light streaming in as if the universe was lending its support. He wanted to set the tone for the right atmosphere. Minutes later, Mark and the others filtered in, their familiar laughter momentarily easing the knots in Derek's stomach. He welcomed them, mingling through light-hearted exchanges before gently steering the conversation towards the agenda. Derek presented his ideas, elucidating what he wanted the food truck to represent: innovation, connection to local farmers, and delicious comfort food reimagined. He witnessed their initial reactions, curiosity mixed with skepticism. The voices of enthusiasm were quieter than he had hoped, and as he spoke, he felt his heart race, questioning if he could keep their attention. Look, it's not just about the food, it's about bringing people together. I want to create a space where our community feels appreciated, where they can savor flavors of home, he enticed, pushing through the evaporating waves of doubt. There was silence before someone finally interjected. It was Amanda, always straightforward. Derek, I love the vision, but what's the plan for making it work? Like, have you researched your costs? How to get this truck rolling? The air shifted, tension sparking like static. Derek took a breath. That question felt like both a challenge and an opportunity. He hadn't just prepared a pitch, he needed to show them he had done his homework, that he could hold his ground. Yes, I've looked into costs, and He began, but the words stumbled out. It struck him, in his excitement to present the bigger picture, he had glossed over crucial details, the very details that mattered most. Mark jumped in. "And who do you see running this thing? It can't just be you, right? What if it doesn't work? What happens to us then?" His tone, although valid, felt like a pin in Derek's already inflated balloon of optimism. The room halved. One side murmured supportive encouragement, while the other side's doubts echoed louder. Derek clenched his jaw, processing their feedback under the weight of critical eyes. He hadn't anticipated this pushback from his closest allies, the questions cutting deeper than mere concern. They unearthed his own fears of failure. Internally, Derek confronted a deeper dilemma. Was he pushing too hard, counting on them to fuel his aspirations, or could they genuinely contribute? He recalled past experiences where friendships veiled resentments, where disparities in vision had fractured bonds. Should he risk being open about the emotional stakes involved? Here's the thing, it's going to be a lot of work, but that's why I want you all on board. More than help, I want partners. Your thoughts, your insights, this is an opportunity to collaborate. But if that's not what you want, I need to know now. Silence stretched again, thick and electric. Reflective glances exchanged among friends, each weighing the cost and the potential that lay before them. Derek felt an agonizing scrunch of time as he awaited their verdict, the room feeling increasingly claustrophobic. As they deliberated, Derek realized that acceptance was more vital than affirmation. A win didn't mean everyone needed to jump aboard. Clarity mattered more than simply gathering support. In this moment of vulnerability, he uncovered a strength he hadn't recognized. His willingness to engage honestly, to navigate through uncertainty together, made him feel grounded despite the swirling tension. What soon followed would pave the way for their collaboration, but also expose the chasms of misalignment hiding in their relationships. As discussions unfolded, he began to understand that forging this venture demanded more than camaraderie. It required profound honesty and the acceptance of differing ambitions. Their decisive responses would set the trajectory for not only Derek's food truck, but also the health of their friendships. Would he succeed in building a team, or would he face the bittersweet reality of misaligned dreams? The truth loomed as the group turned to him, and the decision hung precariously in the air. Could this plan lead to renewed connections, or would it reveal fractures he was not ready to confront? Derek felt time slow as the moment of truth approached. Each second stretched, the weight of anticipation hanging heavy in the air. He had laid his dreams bare before his friends, both vulnerable and desperate for collective belief. Their faces reflected a myriad of emotions: hope, hesitation, curiosity, but uncertainty prevailed in the atmosphere. After what felt like an eternity, Amanda finally broke the silence. "I think we should explore this further. I'm not fully convinced yet, but I can see potential. Let's dive deeper into the numbers and logistics before we commit." Her words were a mixture of affirmation and caution, leaving Derek caught between relief and lingering anxiety. On the other side of the table, Mark folded his arms, casting his gaze downward. "That sounds logical, but time's not on our side. Derek, what's your timeline for this?" His bluntness cut through the air, provoking a knot of stress to tighten in Derek's chest. Clarity was essential. He needed a roadmap, not just a dream. I haven't mapped it out entirely, but I'm thinking we could start with a soft launch in a few months. We need to get our supplies set up and gather the community's feedback to tweak our menu," Derek stammered, grappling with the pressure of his audience's expectations. "Are we talking about a business plan here?" Mark's question anchored itself, drawing attention to something Derek hadn't forthcomingly considered. What if they did need a structure, a safe haven for all their doubts? Derek took a slow breath, acknowledging the gap in his preparation. He had been so focused on the vision of a food truck as a community haven that he had neglected the nuts and bolts of the operation. Yes, a business plan is crucial, he admitted, feeling a flicker of self-doubt. But the revelation ignited a spark within him. He understood that it was a chance to grow, to refine his idea further. "I can help with that," Amanda chimed in, her tone shifted toward a more collaborative approach. "We can break down the costs, potential revenue, and marketing strategy. If we work together, we can fine-tune your vision into a viable project." Gratitude washed over him, mingling with the realization that honesty could deepen their connection. They were no longer just friends. They were becoming partners in a shared journey, a team willing to risk and navigate uncertainties together. "Yes, let's do that," Derek responded, enthusiasm bubbling to the surface. The initial hesitation was transmuting into a collaborative spirit he hadn't thought possible just moments ago. It felt like an awakening. A small surge of agency blossomed inside him, ready to tackle the challenges ahead. As discussions continued, Derek began to map out the primary components of the business plan alongside their input. Amanda dove into financial models. Mark offered insights into market analysis, while others engaged in brainstorming sessions that sparked fresh ideas. Each suggestion fanned the flames of his initial vision into a consumable reality. But as exciting as it was, Derek felt an unsettling weight linger. What if this sense of collaboration masked deeper unresolved tensions? He observed the dynamic, noticing how each member processed doubts and hesitations differently. For every spark of enthusiasm, there was an undertow of fear. Among their collective eagerness lurked hidden agendas. An unsettling thought crept into Derek's mind. Was he losing sight of what he wanted? Was this a true partnership or merely a facade to avoid the confrontation of his own aspirations? As the conversation swirled around him, he struggled to separate the valid concerns from his self-doubt. "Okay, we're building something here, but what happens if we disagree later down the road?" he interjected, his brow furrowing. Derek needed to address the potential conflicts head-on to create a safety net for future interactions. What's our plan if we don't see eye to eye? The question hung in the air, and Derek noticed the way his friends momentarily recoiled. Perhaps this was the conversation they had avoided: disruption anticipated over collaboration, potential friction in their collective approach. "Let's set ground rules," Mark suggested, visibly engaged. "We should have open discussions about concerns and decisions. If it ever feels like it's straying from something we're passionate about, we can revisit." Agreement echoed through the group, but Derek's heart danced uneasily between relief and worry. The genuine effort at establishing protection felt empowering, but also unsettling. The past had taught him the fragility of partnerships, and he was apprehensive of the lines that began to blur. As they outlined their expectations and hopes for open communication, Derek couldn't shake feeling like this was just the beginning. A fresh layer of complexity was forming around their collaboration, one that required constant negotiation and emotional transparency. But he also realized that this was his chance to craft something meaningful together, to tailor the trajectory of his dream. Derek felt exhilaration and fear intertwining. Doubt might loom large, yet hope sparkled in the corners of his vision. But as their group conversation flowed, so did an unyielding idea. The real challenge wasn't the launch of the food truck, but ensuring the foundations of their partnership were rooted in trust and authenticity. What might happen next when ideas clash, revealing the strength or fragility of their bonds? The tension beckoned, promising the truth and challenges that lay ahead. As the days passed, the initial burst of motivation began to shift into a strange whirlpool of doubt and elation for Derek. His teammates gathered more regularly, poring over spreadsheets and marketing ideas. Each meeting filled him with both anticipation and dread. They might be addressing logistics, but every conversation cut deeper than just numbers. It felt like they were chiseling away at the very foundation of their relationships. In moments of quiet reflection, Derek could feel the weight of his aspirations bump against the realities of their nascent partnership. He began to question his own instincts. Did he truly possess the leadership qualities needed to guide this endeavor? Their conversations were filled with ideas, great ideas, but vulnerability was now turning into a necessity for him. He had never let anyone see the side of himself. One afternoon, as they broke for snacks, Derek cornered Amanda in the kitchen, a place he had envisioned as a hub for preparing the food truck's offerings. "Can I ask you something?" he began, his voice barely above a whisper. "Do you think I'm up for this?" She glanced at him, surprise flickered before concern settled. "You mean running a business? Of course you are, Derek. You have the passion, but it's normal to feel unsure sometimes. This isn't just about the food, remember? It's about the connections you want to make." Her words provided some solace, but they stirred another unsettling thought. Was he merely a figurehead, obscured in the glow of their collective enthusiasm? Would the others even support his vision if it meant facing reality when it got tough? With their growing information and influence, he feared losing the essence of what he wanted to create, a space full of love and warmth, not just business strategy. At their next meeting, Derek proposed a casual brainstorming session over a team dinner, facilitated by the local restaurant owner who offered discounts for their budding venture. He hoped the relaxed atmosphere would help them bond and ease any lingering tensions. As they took their seats, Derek could feel his anxiety rising. "Let's talk food," he started, forcing a smile. "What works for everyone in terms of menu ideas and flavors? I want to deliver a real taste of home." The table erupted in energetic discussion, ideas overlapping in a delightful cacophony. Derek listened intently as their visions interwove, but a nagging urge voiced itself internally. It had to remain true to his original concept. When Mark suggested a trendy gourmet taco twist, Derek found himself hesitating. What about something simpler, something that feels closer to our roots? An awkward silence followed. They could all sense the tension. Mark's frown shifted to concentration. "We can play with the familiarity of it, but we can't ignore what's trendy. It's a business after all." The room pulsed with the dual energy of dread and excitement. Derek felt the prickling of disagreement, an unwillingness that began to rise like bile in his throat. Here it was, the crux of his insecurities. Was he ready to stand firm against the tide of business strategies that felt alien to the heart of his idea? "I want to create comfort food that tells our stories," Derek asserted, a flash of defiance in his voice. "Food should reflect heritage. It should tap into memories. If we skew too far, we might lose that." In the aftermath of his declaration, he expected dissent, but Amanda leaned in, nodding with encouragement. "You're right, Derek. Let's find that balance. We can showcase the history, maybe elevate it just a bit without losing its essence." The moment felt electric. It was a recognition he had yearned for. Yet the fear still loomed. What would happen when subjected to their next wave of ideas? How could he protect his vision as the team grew increasingly invested? Derek realized that he must not only unify their aspirations, but also fortify his own convictions. As the evening unfolded, the discussions grew intense, revealing layers of creativity and wraparounds of ego. They were grappling with dreams, but inching closer to a raw realization of their vulnerabilities. At the end of the night, a silent pact was made, a commitment woven with threads of shared dreams, but colored by individual truths. Still, uncertainty crawled beneath the surface. Would their collaborative spirit resist the test of individual ambition? Derek tucked himself into bed that night, unable to etch out a clear answer. Perhaps the true challenge wasn't merely about the operation or the food truck, but about navigating the intricate landscape of relationships, his own dreams in balance with their aspirations. What would he discover about himself when faced with hard choices? The next discussion would undoubtedly push the limits, demanding a clarity of purpose he wasn't sure he possessed. The first daylight broke through the curtains, casting a warm glow around Derek's apartment as he prepared for what would be a monumental day. The scent of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, lacing his nerves with both excitement and anxiety. Today marked the launch of their food truck venture, a culmination of tireless planning, commitment, and personal growth. As he stood before the mirror, he couldn't help but reflect on the transformation he'd undertaken, from doubt and hesitation to a leader fully invested in the success of not only the business, but also his relationships. Stepping into the food truck for the first time that morning felt surreal. The space, now a reflection of their collective vision, hummed with the energy of potential and possibility. He glanced around, taking in the vibrant colors and meticulously curated menu, each detail echoing the back-and-forth discussions and decisions that had brought them here. Just days ago, they had fought through friction and uncertainty, finding their footing together amidst the chaos of ambition and dreams. Derek couldn't shake the memory of how far he had come since the initial conversations, where he feared rejection mixed with hesitant excitement. Now, as he donned his apron, he felt empowered and ready to take on challenges head-on, a testament to the accountability he had committed to both himself and his team. After all, this wasn't just about selling food. It was about nurturing a shared experience, a culinary journey that would weave together their stories, history, and dreams. As the hours ticked closer to their lunch, Derek felt calmness wash over him. He had mentally prepared for this moment, allowing doubt to transform into resolve. He could almost hear his father's encouragement reverberating in his mind, a gentle reminder that he was armed with both passion and responsibility. With every customer that approached the truck, he saw a reflection of what he had fought to reclaim: connection, community, and personal investment in the greater narrative. The doors swung open, and the aroma of their carefully crafted dishes wafted into the streets, mingling with laughter and chatter. The response was overwhelming. Customers began to trickle in, their eyes lighting up with curiosity and genuine delight as they sampled food inspired by family recipes. In that flurry of activity, Derek recognized a valid truth. He was finally manifesting a dream grounded in authenticity and connection. Every interaction served to reinforce his conviction. As he served the first order, a kind elderly woman beamed up at him. "This reminds me of my grandmother's cooking," she said, her eyes glistening with nostalgia. In that moment, Derek felt a sense of validation wash over him, pushing aside any residual anxiety that lingered about whether he could really pull this off. He reveled in knowing they were not just serving food, they were crafting experiences, igniting memories, and honoring the roots of their heritage. Hours turned into a blur, and Derek felt an undeniable rhythm taking hold. Each successful order was a testament not merely to his culinary skills, but a reflection of their collective strengths as a team. The apprehension that once surrounded him dissipated amidst laughter and teamwork, each member of the crew stepping into their roles with confidence and camaraderie. By the end of the day, the truck was nearly empty, filled only with the pleasant glow of satisfaction and purpose. As the last customer waved goodbye, Derek turned to his team, overwhelmed by gratitude. They had started out as friends, but the journey they had traversed together had forged them into partners, co-pilots navigating the exhilarating landscape of entrepreneurship. Each had contributed to their collective success, and with it, Derek had gained a deeper appreciation for the strength that came from collaboration and clarity. Later that evening, Derek took a moment away from the buzzing energy of the food truck. He stood outside, watching as the day transformed into twilight, the sky painted in hues of gold and deep blue. He felt a pulse of pride well up inside him. He had not only succeeded in launching the food truck, but had also emerged with a newfound sense of self, acknowledgement of his leadership qualities, and a commitment to stay authentic as challenges lay ahead. His phone buzzed with a message from John, a picture of the two of them taken earlier in the day, smiles wide and genuine. "You did it, son. I'm proud of you." It hit him then. He wasn't just operating a food truck. He was nurturing a legacy, a bond deepened through vulnerability and shared aspirations. With a full heart, he realized that this leap into entrepreneurship had been transformative on many levels. He had not merely conquered a business, he had learned to balance the demands of leadership, friendship, and passion, all while crafting something of lasting value. The shadows of doubt that once clouded his path now illuminated a future ripe with possibility. this isn't just the end, it's only the beginning. As he stepped back into the food truck, filled with laughter and newfound hope, he knew one truth: daring to dream, facing fears, and embracing hard-won lessons had awakened a lasting commitment to lead with heart. He's ready, because now Derek sees not just the manifestation of his dreams, but the intricate web of relationships that binds them all together. The food truck represents a platform not only for entrepreneurship, but a collective narrative that honors their journey. And with that realization, his heart swelled with anticipation for what was yet to unfold. You need to subscribe now, because this is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It really makes a difference. Comment below your reactions and theories about this incredible journey. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let these stories empower as many people as possible.